So, have you ever thought that the world might not really be there? As in, is reality real? Because we base reality based on a bunch of different nerve impulses from our brain, and we don't necessarily know that all of reality is really true. And it's a scary thought, but it might actually be the truth to society. It might not be. It'll be up to you to decide at the end of this video. I'm Perplexality, and you're watching Perplexities with Perplexality, and this is some of my commentary where I'm going to talk about what some of the more intricacies of life and everything and goes into. Now, before I get into the commentary, I want to talk just a second about the gameplay. In the game, you'll see that I get a 32-0 perfection using mostly the sniper rifle, and my friend Harbinger18 is actually my clan leader, and I'm putting his gameplay in the top left, got a 45-0 perfection with the unfreaking believable. So if you want to go ahead and sit back and enjoy it, it's two great perfections. We really just got up against a really not the best team in the world, and we just kind of use a lot of teamwork and stuff to play. But that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. Just if you want to see his full gameplay, whenever he uploads it, I'm going to add a link in the top left over that video that you're seeing in the upper left. So that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about for the video. Now let's get back to the commentary, because I think I left you with some questions that need answering. So before we can talk about is our world real, we need to talk about how we know or why we think that the world is real right now. So, how we believe that the world is real is that we see things or we hear things and our nerves sends those signals to our brain. So, for example, you see this video. The video is light coming off your computer screen. The light hits the back of your eyes, and these two different nerve types called rods and cones detect the light. And the light that they detect gets sent to your brain through your optic nerve. So, light hits the back of your eyes, you have some nerves that detect it, and the nerves send that to your brain. If you hear something, then sound waves hit your ear. Basically, those vibrations get sent down some bones, but end up at the cochlea. The cochlea sends that signal, or turns the sound waves into a signal that is electric. And that electric signal gets sent down your cochlear nerve to your brain, and that's how we detect sound. So, you know, sound hits your ear turns that into a nerve signal, and the nerve signal gets sent to your brain, and that's how you hear things. So basically, all of what we perceive is based on our nerves. Based on what we hear, what we see, everything is based on what our nerves tell us is true. And that's how we know that everything is true, per se. But there are plenty of instances that we've seen where that's not always true. Whereas your nerves might not be correct for a certain instance. You know, there's some diseases where you've seen people burning up, but they feel like they're shivering cold, or some people are really freezing and hypothermic, but they feel like they're just burning up and they're just too hot to handle it. One disease I like using as an example is cholera, which really plagued a lot of Europe during the times of Shakespeare and whatnot. A lot of that Renaissance era. But during that time, cholera was a big disease getting spread around, and we killed tons of people because your nerves were basically telling you, like, yo, dude, you are super hydrated, you need to lose a bunch of water. But you're really not overhydrated, so your body is constantly flushing out water, and it has a lot to do with sodium ion channels and these different kinds of transport chains that tell you how you perceive images and senses and whatnot. But basically, in the end of it, your body is telling you something that isn't true. And because it's telling you something that's not true, you actually send out too much water and you die of dehydration. And that's how the cholera killed tons of people back in ye olden times. So we have instances where we know that all of what we base reality on is perceived by our nerves, and that goes to our brain. But we don't necessarily know. We have instances where the nerves that are sent to our brain, or the nervous signals that were sent to our brain, aren't necessarily true. So, if we base all of reality based on our nerve signals, and our nerve signals aren't true, then is our reality really a lie? And that's what I wanted to get to in this video, because it's a very interesting idea. This is something called the egocentric predicament, which is just a name to it, but it's kind of a great thing to think about, which is, it basically tells us what it means to be crazy. Because basically, if you think of something who's crazy or clinically insane or mentally unstable, those kind of people are hearing voices, you know, you usually think out, or seeing things that aren't really there. But they're hearing voices because somewhere along the line of how that sound gets their ear, maybe their eardrum, it doesn't hear things correctly, or maybe their cochlea doesn't transfer the sounds right, or maybe there's something wrong with their cochlear nerve, and their brain just perceives that in a really weird way. But somewhere along the line, they are hearing something that isn't really there. They're hearing voices or something. If they see something, somewhere along the line, their nerves are telling them something that isn't really true. So, that's what it means to be crazy, is you're seeing things, you're hearing things that aren't really there because your nerves are telling you lies, and you can't really help it. But the interesting idea is we have no way of proving that our life is real, because how would we prove that our life is real? Well, we'd have to use our nerves in order to see evidence to prove it. But if we use our nerves, that means that our nerves might not necessarily be correct, and therefore life might not really be true. And it might just be a whole fabrication of your imagination. And it's a really crazy, interesting idea. One movie that I think illustrates this well is The Matrix. And I'm only going to spoil the beginning, one of the really big things. But if you don't want to get a spoiler, you can skip a minute forward. But I think this analogy helps a lot, which is, in The Matrix, there's a main character, Neo. And Neo has been living in this virtual world known as The Matrix. And in this virtual world, he's basically getting false signals from this giant autonomous robotic kind of thing. And it's telling him that, yeah, this is what your real world is. He keeps sending him signals. They keep sending him pain, perception, and sight, and all that. And that's telling him what is really there. And so it's really interesting because when he wakes up, he finds out that everything that he'd been perceiving was not really true. He'd been perceiving lies. And that's what our bodies might be doing, is we might actually be perceiving things that might not necessarily be there. We might be perceiving lies or so. But basically, our body might not be telling truths to us. And that could say that, for all I know, I really am living in the Matrix, and some robot is sending signals to my brain. And that's why I'm perceiving everything that's true. My brain might actually just be creating it all anyways, and a good way to explain this whole virtual world that it's created is through nerves, and that's why nerves exist. For all you know, my commentary right now is a figment of your imagination or some kind of external force trying to get you to hear this through some different kind of nerves, and your reality might not be true. That's a really scary thought, and I don't want you to be scared by this idea, partially because it might not be true. This is just kind of an instance where we look at a very interesting idea in philosophy and psychology. You know, the egocentric predicament has been around for a very long time, and it's always been very interesting. I actually wrote my college application essay on the egocentric predicament, and I actually got in because it was such an interesting idea, such an interesting twist on the topic and everything. Because I was really writing about the book 1984 and how it made me understand how crazy people really feel and what it means to be crazy, because it definitely is an experience, I would imagine. Now, one quote that really helped me when I was trying to really consider this is a really great philosopher, and I'm really sorry that I don't know his name. If someone else finds it, please leave it in the comments and I'll add an annotation or something. But he said that he doesn't believe in the egocentric predicament because it's more convenient not to. In that, you know, it's always very easy to believe and buy into stuff about the egocentric predicament. But, you know, if you believe it, then you really gain nothing from believing that the world really isn't there. But if you choose to not believe in it, then you gain the ability to kind of live a normal society, and your brain will be none the wiser. And it's very convenient to believe that everything is real, so you do. And that's personally what I believe. Not telling you that is right or wrong, but that is why I believe what I believe. But, I mean, for all I know, I'm really crazy, and none of it really exists, and this is just some kind of big roller coaster world of fun known as this three-dimensional space of the universe. You know, everything, it might just be an interesting kind of topic and idea. I might have created the game Halo in my imagination. But it's a really fun thing. If you have any questions you want to leave in the comments, stuff like that, if you kind of liked the commentary and you want to leave your own opinion, you can feel free to comment on that, or just tell me what you want to see me talk about next, because I do take requests and I reply to as many comments as I can. I always try to, if I can think of a good addition to it and kind of interact with you guys. And comment, rate, and subscribe, and like the video only if you like the video, because I want you to really tell me feedback and everything. So again, comment, rate, and subscribe, and really just have a great day, and I hope this gets you thinking I'm Perplexality, and this has been ODST Halo Guide. ODST, out.